When I found out I was pregnant with Bijan, we're sitting here trying to find names. And one day my mom brought me home, like we were fragrance models together. And she brought me home a bunch of samples of different fragrances. And all of a sudden, one just kind of like stood out. One of the fragrance models that we worked with, she's Persian, and she said, "Do you know what that name means?" And she says, "That means hero." And I was like, well, then that's what he needs to be, because he's my hero.
He's got it! Robinson!
Bijan with a catch and a first down.
They can use me to receiver, slot, play running back.
And out into the open along the sideline. That's Bijan Robinson, who stayed in bounds. Bijan Robinson on the touchdown.
The vision, the break tackle ability.
And he finds a running lane. What a sweet move!
Every touchdown he scores, I'm screaming, "That's my grandson. That's my grandson."
What a burst by Bijan Robinson, second level.
Trying to find an option, 3rd and 6, and Bijan Robinson.
He was born when I was 9. I videotaped him being born. So it's almost like I've had kind of like this bird-eye view of his life, like his entire life.
He was always smiling, always smiling. I think I remember I had somebody ask me one day, they was like, "Is your son never not smiling?" And I had to like pause for a second. I was like, no, he's always smiling.
He's just a great person, even from a kid.
My mom, my grandma, my auntie, all my brothers and sisters, like they're just like such huge pieces in my life and how I grew up. And I'm like such a positive dude. Like I was saying, I smile so much like in my life, and it's because of them. If you meet them, then you'll know like where I'm coming from.
He was very athletic, any sport, basketball, soccer, baseball, track, all those things he was very, very good at.
I remember when I took him to go get his first haircut, he had like this little Nerf ball in his hand. And, he would just always kind of just like be throwing it and rolling around on the ground. He would even be like, "Mom, tackle me, Mom, tackle me." I'm like, "Wait, what am I tackling you for?"
My grandpa, he was a Pac-10 official for 30 years. I call him Dad because he's like my dad. I've always been around the game because of him.
He'll come around sometime and say, "Hey, Dad, we need some guy time." And so we'll take off and go to a movie or something like that, or go play catch. We did that an awful lot.
That was probably about the age that I was his Sunday school teacher as well. He was also the church drummer. So not only did he have to sit through Sunday school, but he had to play the drums, and then when he got out of church, he could get his football.
A lot of time I bring the football programs back from the games that I work. He would cut out the pictures and make football players, a team, put them on the field, and let them run plays. He designed plays that they run and so forth. Like the whole line, the backfield, and all of that stuff.
He never like hammered it on me. He was just telling me, I'm glad, you chose, what you did, and you knew that this is what God wanted you to do, but just know that I was your dad, and I would let you do, if you wanted to race cars, like that's what we got to do.
He tells a story about his first ever football game when he was 5. He ran the wrong direction into the other team's end zone.
We were like, the other way. But, I think he was just so destined to make these touchdowns. He was ready. But after he got schooled a little bit more of what he was supposed to do, it's been the right way ever since.
One year in their stocking, I gave them these big Post-it notes, and it's a big round Post-it note, and he put his on the wall outside his room, and he said, "God, take me to the NFL, first round," and he said, at the end of the day, make me special.
You always notice that it was something special. He's always stood out like on the fields against his opponents and stuff.
He can read, his vision is great, and he can recognize how to deal with certain situation and get out of them and so forth.
I think like my sophomore year of high school is when I started to realize, I can actually do this thing. I can actually like achieve what God had planned for me.
I think it was a real, true love for him. And You know, I think he took the good, the bad, and the ugly with it because he was, you know, not just a lover of it, but in love with it. It was a passion of his.
I think it just really taught me a lot about, you know, who I am as a person and, you know, how I can bring positivity to, you know, my teammates. The team looks at me when things happen, so I need to be, you know, try to be a light to them so we can get over it and try to accomplish something greater.
Bijan Robinson has announced he is committed to the Texas Longhorns.
We've always been really close, brother-sister relationship. After college, I moved away to LA, and he was looking at a few schools in LA, and I was like, hey, don't just come here because I'm here. Go where you truly feel is best for you. So I might go with you depending on where it is. So the minute he chose Texas, he was like, so remember what you said? Like, when are you coming?
You know, I built so many relationships there from the time I stepped foot on campus to the time I left. You know, from my sophomore year to my junior year, it was just like crazy. I feel like I just like knew everybody in Texas. You know, even like at the last game of the season, I mean, there's 105,000 people in the stands, and this is like my last college football game. And then at the end of the game, everybody's just chanting my name, and I was like, yo, I just knew, you know, God was supposed to make me go. Like he wanted me to come here for this reason here.
The 2023 NFL Draft is now officially open.
Cameras are rushing everywhere. You know, all of the guys are getting their calls.
You know, when we're going throughout the week, we're kind of, you know, thinking about like, okay, it could be this, it could be this. We've talked to this person, we've talked to that, you know. But there's so many possibilities that we just don't want to get our hopes up in one direction.
Well, you had me in the seat here, just looking around, like kind of just shaking my legs. And then everybody else was just having a good time, you know, talking. You know, my agent, Nicole Lynn, she was just chilling, you know, making sure I was good. And then all my family was like on the side of me here, laughing. You know, that's just what we do, just enjoying the moment.
We're in that, you know, the green room area, and the camera crew would go from the next person coming up. And all of a sudden, I look down, I see some motion over there toward Bijan.
All of a sudden, I saw him kind of go down like this.
And then my legs started buzzing, and I was like, ain't no way this is what I'm getting a call right now. Like, this is crazy.
He's so expressive. So he had this look, and then he was like.
And when everybody saw him on the phone, it went like, oh. Like, excitement started growing and growing. Is this for real? Is this for real? And everybody's looking at him. Then I look up, the cameras are all around our area.
Bijan Robinson.
And all of a sudden, Nicole's hitting me on my arm like, he's on the phone. And I was like, oh my God, he's on the phone.
I was like, oh my God, like, so I picked it up, and then, you know, it was Terry, and he was just like, yo, B, you know, and just saying that, like, it's time to go.
And when he finally got off the phone and told us who it was, I was just so excited for him.
My girls told me, don't cry, don't do the ugly cry. Well, the ugly cry came out.
And everybody else like looked, and they were like, oh my God, like they were going crazy. They didn't even know like what it was, but I knew immediately, like, this is what we've been working so hard for, and I knew that this is where, you know, God wanted me to be at the end of the day.
With the 8th pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Bijan Robinson, running back, Texas.
I just want to give honor to God, and you know, and the Son Jesus for just blessing me to be here. What's up, Falcons fans? This is Bijan Robinson.
We're here, ready to go. Let's go.
Scripture says to write the vision and make it plain. And all I could think about was how he had written the vision on this big Post-it note, and it was now coming to pass.
My prayer was that he went to an organization that was the best fit for him and that would embrace him and love him and become family. And I just felt that the moment I walked through the door. What do you think about Atlanta? Family.
I've told Bijan a number of times, Bijan, you are a person that any father would love to call their son. How much I'm proud of him. I'm just so proud that the fact that he was able to fulfill his lifetime dream of becoming an NFL NFL football player.
It was like, we're here, we got here, this is your moment, you're experiencing it, and I just wouldn't trade it for the world.
Not so much what I saw him do on the football field, but it was his mental. It was a dream. It was his commitment to the dream. Football will end, but your character lives on.
His name is Bijan, it means hero. And that's also become a part of our mission, where he wants to help others, inspire others to bring the hero out of themselves. You don't have to be a really great football player to be a hero. You don't, have to wear a cape to be a hero. There's a hero in all of us.
I've been blessed to have talent on the field, but, off the field and how I want to affect, kids, adults, everybody. And to really bring the light that they might have been missing or might need, and they don't even know.
You love kids.
Yeah.
What do you say to this kid?
Yeah. I just say, just don't change. Just don't change. Don't ever, always be that kid right there.
Keep listening, keep learning, keep following what you've been taught. And one day, you're going to be a great man wearing that jersey.
I think it's an exciting city. I think there's a large city in which Bijan would probably really, really appreciate. He likes the big city style, and I think Clarissa is coming here too also.
I've been to Atlanta a couple of times and have always had great experiences. So good food, and just really excited to get immersed in the people as well.
The team is going to be great. There's a lot of talent on the team, and I want the days, when that stadium, Mercedes-Benz, to be packed out and to play the music, like get hype, and I think it's going to be pretty cool to watch it.